Hi, this is Odeean here. This is a follow-up video on a video I did a couple of weeks ago, which was for KO Masterpiece figures. So I've gone ahead and got the remaining KO Masterpieces that are available right now. So on the right here you can see I have a box of KO Masterpiece Rumble and Ravage. On the left, here's my official Takara Tomy. Now this box is a tiny bit worse for wear. The package it was in didn't seem to be damaged, so I think that it's just how it was originating from the factory or whoever puts this in. Seems like they just crammed it shut. I don't really care about this box. As soon as the video's over, I'm going to get rid of it. But if you care about the boxes, maybe you better stick with the original. Now, apart from those two, oh no, I'm getting mixed up which is which. I have my KO alert here and my Masterpiece Takara Tomy alert here. Now again, the boxes are very, very similar. And in fact, on these ones, it's really, I don't think I can easily tell them apart. This one's a little bit more shiny, and that's basically the only giveaway. So the shiny one is the KO, the Takara one is a little bit more matte, but there's no errors in the packaging on this like what we got with Lambor. So it's closer to being the real deal. This box is not damaged in any way, I want to say as well. So if I was collecting the box of the KO, this is a pretty minty box. To start with, I'm sticking with my left is real deal, right is KO. Here we've got Takara's version of Ravage. He's pretty cool. We all like him. I haven't done a review of him. Plenty of other people have. It's not really necessary. Here we've got the KO version, and as you can see, it comes with the case, just like the real thing, and it fits perfectly in the case. No issues there. Putting that aside. And here's a bit of a look at the detail on the tape mode. I know I forgot to show the tape mode in the last video, so it's pretty important. If that was crap, it would be not so good, but luckily it's equally crisp as the real thing, so no flaws in paintwork. On the other side, plain. That's how Ravage normally is anyway. When we get Ravage into his what is it, Puma cat mode, we do see a little bit of a difference. So this is the first negative paint app that I've had so far on all of these KOs. Looking at the real version here, you can see his red eyes, if it's even showing up there, are perfect little pinpricks of red in the molded detail, and there's no bleed out to the edges or anything like that. They're just red in there. Actually, I'm going to get a bit of a closer up. So that really shows it now that I've got the light in there, the little bit of red just in the eye. And here we've got the KO, and that's ugly. Looks like he's wearing makeup. It's totally applied in the wrong spot, and I'm guessing someone did that with a brush. The other side, not so bad. It doesn't really show up on camera, but it's not evenly applied, and the paint is kind of a bit washy on that one, so the eyes are pretty bad. Now, apart from that paint, there are other slight issues with Ravage focusing around the head area. You can see that clipped together, the seam isn't as tight as with the original. This one is a perfect fit, whereas this one has some slight tolerance issue where it doesn't want to go together quite as well. And I think that is caused by an ever so slight difference in the diameter of the metal pin up here. So going back to what I had said originally, whether these are truly KOs or just factory rejects, I'm still leaning towards the factory reject explanation, because other than that, his body looks and functions identically, and with such fine little details like this, I have a hard time believing that I just realized I got it transformed wrong. Got a hard time believing that it would be possible to reproduce these without literally stealing the molds. So next we have the two Rumbles, and they look pretty nice. So no glaring defects or flaws in the paint app with these. Their eyes, both eyes look pretty fantastic. The silver on the chest, or gold rather, on the chest, pretty nice. Turning them around to the back. Oh, by the way, this is the KO. You can see that the KO has a nice crisp tape detail there. A little bit of damage to the numbers, perhaps. The ones look better on the real thing. But just like his Frenzy counterpart, the problem with this guy comes in the tolerances. So you can see the tolerance here is really good. I can easily pose the figure, but it will stay in place. With this KO version, it's got a bit of stickiness to it, and like again, his right leg doesn't want to turn, and I feel like I'm going to snap the plastic turning that. So maybe it was a bad batch of plastic or something and expanded too much or too little, but whatever, the tolerance on those hip joints is a little bit bad. The other problem we get with tolerances is the guns when they're on the back. So you can see here that's really rigid. The real Takara Tomy product pegs in perfectly there. Now both of these peg in the hands well. You can see the hand is pegged in good on the KO, but if I pull off the gun and then I do the little transformation thing and try to peg it in at the back, it's pretty loose, and that's as far as it will go. Let's try it on the other side. Pretty loose. So definitely a tolerance issue with probably these holes on the back causing that. Both sets do come with the pile drivers, and Masterpiece or KO, I always have a little bit of tricky time getting them to lock in. I know there's a point where you can get it and it will snap in place, but I find that point isn't good for posing often. But the pile drivers are pretty much equal on both sets. Moving on to the next figure is Alert. This is the real deal. This is the KO. Very, very similar. And in some respects, the KO is actually better. So I don't know if this is showing, but there's a little bit of feathering here on the paint, and that's how it came. It's not a big deal, but I can see it with the naked eye without having to zoom in or anything. On the KO version, it's pretty crisp. Turning around, the real one has a bit of splatter on the windshield. The KO version, again, very crisp. The KO doesn't have any real faults that are obvious from this angle, but if I turn it around onto the back, on the back end of this KO version, the paint is a bit matte. It's like there was too thick an application, but it's not something you see normally. It's also a little bit cream. It's like the paint must have been dirty or contaminated or something. Let's check out the spelling. Yeah, the spelling is wrong on the Lamborghini and Countach on the back of the KO as well. Other than that, it's pretty perfect though. Both figures roll. There's no dragging parts. They've got enough clearance to roll. Both of them have the light bar. Both of them come with their gun. Here's one. I won't be bothered to get the original out, but this is the KO gun, rocket launcher. This is the KO rifle. It functions just as you would expect, and we do also get KO versions of the crazy sparks for when he loses his mind. In robot mode, they become a little bit more differentiated. So, as with the Lambo, there is a tolerance issue on the head here, which means this crack is kind of permanently visible, and that's a big disappointment because it's the main thing that's wrong with this figure. And if it wasn't for that, I could be very happy with this. I'm still happy with it, but I need to find a way to fix that. You can see how it's supposed to be. The tolerance is perfect in that part of the figure on the official version, and it looks 100 times better. That crack is very annoying. Now, having said that, everything else about the KO is actually better than on the original. Now, if you've seen my review of this guy, you remember I said he's pretty loose, and he is. Everything on him is loose. Look at that. Very, very loose. Now, look at this. Not loose. Nice and tight. I could have just got a bad Alert. I don't know. Everyone else seems to say it's pretty good, but just for me, in this situation, I think the best thing for me to do would be to pull off the head from Takara Tomy Alert and stick it on the KO body, because the KO is actually a nicer, tighter figure. Also, if you remember in my Lambor review, I told you that the rifle would not peg into the hand. So I forgot to illustrate that in the video. So here we've got Alert, the real version, with his hand opened, and the gun is securely tabbed in. So there's no need to even close the fist. It tabs in nice and snug and doesn't fall out. So here's the KO version and KO rifle. I'm going to try to tab it in. Looks like it's in there. No, it is not. Pretty bad tolerance with that. So the only way you're going to get it to permanently attach is to stick a bit of blue tack in there, or to close the fist tight on it. Once the fist is closed, he can hold it good enough, but without doing that, it just falls out every time. So what's the verdict? My final thoughts. These guys are truly fantastic. For the price, they are awesome to have. Except for the stupid seam in every one of their heads, there's really nothing wrong with any of them. And I've got to pull that apart. I really must figure that out, because it's annoying me just sitting here looking at it. But apart from that, they're great fun to play with. And I'm not advocating in any way abandoning official Transformer product, anything like that. I mean, look, I've already got my streak. It's not like I'm waiting for the KO of these 3 newest cars. I do hope we get them, but I'm not waiting. I buy them as soon as they come out, and I want to support the incredibly clever people, intelligent people at Takara Tomy who design these things. And whether these are KOs or some other thing is beside the point. What they really do is give me a kind of freedom to play with my figures. They are cheap and readily available at the moment, and I can put these on a shelf, not worry about it falling down, not worry about scratches, not worry about breaking it. I can just have loads of fun. I can move them around, not worrying about loosening up the joints, because this is a second set. I always buy every Masterpiece because I like them. They're the best Transformers. And like, I've got the Takara version, the Hasbro version of Grimlock, of Optimus. This is in no way stopping me from buying those. But I still hope that we end up with KO versions of Grimlock. There's a rumoured KO version of Masterpiece Grimlock, and I will buy a 3rd copy because I like to fiddle with them backwards and forwards, and doing that over time loosens up the joints and ruins your figures. But if you have KO versions, you don't have to worry about that. You didn't pay as much. If you loosen them up and wreck them, they're not the main figure. That's what they're there for, and it gives you just freedom to have fun. That's the way I see it. So these all turned out good. I can highly recommend them, especially for the price, like about $35 each. They've been creeping up a little bit now. Maybe the supply is drying out. I don't know. They're all like $37, $38 each now. So maybe we've passed the lowest point. But even at that price, they're still really, really good. I mean, that is stiff. This is made so well. Anyway, this is my video review for the whole bunch of KO Masterpiece figures, in particular Rumble and Ravage and Alert, who turned out fantastic. I'm Odeean. Thank you for watching. We're just missing a Laserbeak. I hope we get a Laserbeak. So I've got the Sound Blaster version on order, so I'm going to end up with a real version of Ratbat, but I wonder what's going to happen with KO version Ratbat. Will that ever happen?